And welcome back to Stanny Boy Reviews. I'm your host, Stanley. Thank you so much for taking the time to check out my channel.
Where I like to talk about my favorite horror films and your favorite horror films.
You guys, we are halfway to Halloween. Where the has this year gone? 2023, who would have known? What's so funny is the last 4 months I've been writing 2022. It's already almost Halloween. Recently, we discussed the 2013 reboot of The Evil Dead, a reboot that I actually consider to be quite good and even better than the original. And today, we are staying on the Deadite train. Today, we are talking about Evil Dead Rise. That's what's up. So again, go grab your favorite copy of the Book of the Dead because apparently there's a whole bunch of them. Some of your favorite vinyls. Maybe a tattoo gun. Go grab a seat, I'm already seated, and let's take an elevator ride to the 13th floor, baby! I didn't even realize how much I really love these movies. They're just so bloody, they're so fun, they're so over the top, gruesome, and with Alvarez's home run of a remake back in 2013, talks of a direct sequel to that film started circling pretty quickly but sizzled. And instead, we ended up getting Ash versus the Evil Dead. Which aired on the Stars channel from 2015 to 2018. I own this whole series, and I've only seen the first 3 episodes. What am I doing here? Stupid. In late 2019, it was announced by Sam Raimi, the creator of The Evil Dead, that he, Bruce Campbell, and longtime producer partner Robert Tappert, I don't know. We're finally locking down a direct sequel to Army of Darkness, which was the last of the movies that Sam Raimi himself directed. But that idea would also fizzle away, and we would instead get Evil Dead Rise. Director Lee Cronin would be handpicked after previously collaborating with Sam Raimi on a horror anthology series called that aired on Quibi. I think that's what it's called, Quibi. Why don't I know anything? Cronin also directed another horror film a few years back called The Hole in the Ground. Evil Dead Rise would be shot in New Zealand between the summer and early fall of 2021. And once it was completed, it was supposed to air on HBO Max, but that decision was ultimately opted out due to positive test screenings with audiences. Dave Garbett, who was one of the prime cinematographers on the Ash vs. the Evil Dead show, would return as the main cinematographer here. A huge plus in my worthless opinion because this movie looks like an Evil Dead movie, through and through. And it would also gain 2 big bonuses with Australian actresses Lily Sullivan and Alyssa Sutherland, who is not related to Kiefer or Donald, but we'll get to the cast later. As of the end of April, Evil Dead Rise has managed to gross just under $47 million against its barely $20 million budget. It's only been out a few weeks, guys, so the series still has it. On Rotten Tomatoes, we're looking at a pretty solid 84%. Metacritic, we have 68 out of 100. And on CinemaScore, we have a B. But really, what did I think? That's why we're here. Let's get into it. Evil Dead Rise starts off with a bang that I will not spoil, but let me tell you, it is hair-raising. It slaps, baby. It slaps hard. We're introduced to Beth, played by Lily Sullivan, who is a guitar technician who decides to go visit her older sister, Ellie, played by Alyssa Sutherland, who is a single mom living in a high-rise apartment in Los Angeles with her 3 children. Dad flew the coop, but she's managing. She's a tattoo artist, making things work. Shout out to the location scouts, by the way, because I don't know how all these movies are filmed in New Zealand and somehow look like Los Angeles. Kudos to that department. There's an earthquake, LA. And in the basement of the building, Ellie's kids discover that there's a vault that contains ancient vinyls and, you guessed it, a Book of the Dead. But is it just me, or is this a different copy of the Book of the Dead? No, it wasn't me, because we find out that there are actually 3 different copies of the Necromonicon in existence, and this just happens to be a different version floating around. The record is what recites the words of the dead possessing Ellie first.
Mommy's with the maggots.
And Beth must do what she can to protect Ellie's kids and herself so the dead do not get them.
Don't let it take my babies.
I want to start off by talking about all the things that I really loved about this movie, because there's a few. The performances. Holy shit. Alyssa Sutherland steals the show.
Open up now.
As older sister, single mom Ellie. And her and Lily Sullivan really work well off of each other. They nail the sister dynamic. And once Ellie is taken over by possession, she really lets her sideways smirk and big eyes and spooky long model limbs do the work. And it's fascinating and scary to watch. And the kids actually do a really good job here too, and we all know how much I hate kids in horror movies. It's really hit or miss. More particularly, little Nell Fisher. God damn, this little girl can act. There's always someone in these movies that's really put through the will to survive, and this little girl gets the end of the stick, I guess you could say. She's just really something to watch. There were certain plot points that could have gone differently, but they didn't. And I'm so glad that the execution was handled in simple ways and we didn't get too involved, but we're still able to care about everyone within the picture. And I really enjoyed seeing it play out the way that it did, especially when things got ugly and nasty, which brings me to another thing that I loved, the special effects. Just like Evil Dead 2013, this movie relied so heavily on practical effects. So good. Yeah, there was some CGI scattered here and there to polish things up, I'm sure. I was wincing a lot, and trust me, this isn't even the gorier of the films. I also wanted to point out that I really liked how at least one of the kids is represented by the queer community. Good casting decision. Bravo, man. Now, I did have a few issues. One of them being the obvious nods to the movies that came before it. While it was appreciated in the reboot, here I was a little more irked because I guess we're supposed to be expanding at this point, no? Not ripping something off. And there were a few moments here where I felt like I was watching scenes that were ripped directly from other movies. Like Demons 2, or Wreck, or The Shining. Now, it didn't take away from it necessarily, but it did water it down a little bit, if that makes any sense. And I also wish that the location would have been utilized a little more to the advantage of the story. The setting is this huge high-rise of an apartment building in downtown Los Angeles. It's creepy, it's dark, it's looming, and I don't feel they used it the way that they could have. Even with what we get at the end, which is super f***ing bitchin'. It would have been really cool to see multiple deadites just terrorizing the building, pouring out of elevators, full scale. But I didn't get that, and that kind of sucked. But hey, maybe next time. We're gonna get more of these movies. All in all, it was a good way to kill an hour and a half. We love a tight-paced, bloody horror movie. This movie was in my face the entire time.
Eeny, meeny, miny. You.
So on Stanny's Stab-O-Meter, I give Evil Dead Rise 3.5 stabs. And well deserved. The story was there, the acting was solid, and I was so happy to see a familiar scenario play out once again on a big screen. Evil Dead 2013 was 10 years ago. That was the last time we got one of these movies. And sure, there's the television show, which I'm not super familiar with. I will be. This movie proves that the series is gonna get a comeback, that it still matters to people. Like Scream, these movies matter. There's a respect for them, and we are keeping these movies alive. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. If they keep up with the gore levels and the acting chops, just like this one and the one that came before this, I think we're gonna be just fine. So what do you say, guys? Did you see Evil Dead Rise? Do you plan to watch Evil Dead Rise? Let me know what you think in the comments. And do not forget, I am on social media. I am on Twitter, I am on Instagram, and I am on TikTok. And do not forget to subscribe. I will be back soon with another review. You guys have a great, safe week. Take care. Bye.
Never